Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues. The second order of the day is the second reading of the Private Investigators Regulation Bill 2024 SB 136. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 23rd May 2024. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Osita Ngu to move the motion for the bill to be read a second time.
Senator Osita Ngu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Osita Ngu. I represent Enugu West. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on the Private Investigators Bill, which seeks to provide a framework for the licensing and practice of private investigators in the country. It also provides for a system of regulation, control, and conduct of the practice so as to maintain professional standards. The bill was first read for the first time on the 23rd of May, 2024. Private investigators, according to Wikipedia, are persons who can be hired by individuals or groups to undertake investigatory law services. They often work for lawyers in civil cases. Many work for insurance companies to investigate suspicious claims. Others do background checks and due diligence and render many other services. Perhaps due to TV culture, private investigators are very often seen as glamorized independent investigators with fancy gadgets and dramatic flares for solving cases. Nevertheless, they are a vital segment of the civil and criminal justice administration and law enforcement across the globe. Private investigators could be used in various capacities. While some specialize in tracing, others specialize in technical surveillance countermeasures, which is locating and dealing with unwanted forms of electronic surveillance. For example, a boardroom for industrial espionage purposes. This type of service is typically conducted by those with background in intelligence, counterintelligence, executive protection, and law enforcement. Other private investigators specialize in corporate matters, including anti-fraud, loss prevention, and internal investigation of employee misconduct, such as employment service violation and sexual harassment, the protection of property rights, and due diligence investigation. Some private investigators act as professional witnesses, where they observe situations with a view of reporting the actions or lack of them to a court, or to gather evidence in antisocial behavior. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the practice of private investigators is well established in countries like United Kingdom, United States, Australia, Canada, etc. While some private investigators are former law enforcement agents, others are former military and intelligence personnel. The modern trend across the globe, however, is the need to have them licensed so as to maintain ethical standards. The private investigators play a vital role in providing investigative support services in a range of contexts. In some instances, they perform complementing police investigative responsibilities in support of diligent prosecution. Comprehensive regulatory structure is needed to check the tendency for unethical and unlawful behavior by practitioners. Private investigators come in contact with a lot of information and intelligence, and information trade is common practice within this industry. Unregulated access, use, and brokerage of confidential information may result in serious socio-economic and even political consequences. A legislative framework will provide a much-needed clarity and consistency in regulation of the information gathering practices of private investigators, This will help to enhance capacity to access information relevant to investigation and also help protect privacy of citizens. The bill defines the scope of the profession, ensures standard, provide penalty for professional negligence, and prescribe offenses for operation without license, and encourage industry-based training to maintain capacity. The objective of this bill includes fraud prevention, detection, assessment and resolution, corporate fraud and risk management services, insurance fraud and claims investigation, aviation accident and loss investigation, marine loss investigation, occupational health and safety incident investigation, witness location and bail bond defrauders, etc. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the Private Investigators Bill essentially seeks to professionalize the industry and has no financial implication. It establishes conditions for qualification and also regulates the practice of private investigation. The bill will ultimately protect the public from abuse or arbitrariness in service provision by private investigators. I hereby call on my distinguished colleagues to support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.